Hello, friends. Our gospel lesson this week has Jesus telling the parable about the sower and the seed, and it made me think about gardens of forgiveness. The first forgiveness garden was in Beirut, Lebanon, and there's a story that is about that garden called the Forgiveness Garden. You can look up Lebanon on a world map and see where it is and know that this movement about these gardens of forgiveness is going on all over the world. But here's a story about it. The writer of the story is Lauren Thompson, and the pictures, which are wonderful, are by Christy Hale. There was once a valley, and through the valley ran a stream. The village of Vaim stood on one side, and the village of Gamti stood on the other. There was no peace in the valley, for the two villages hated each other for a long, long time. One day a new argument sparked. Both villages claimed a certain part of the stream as their own. Angry words flew across the stream, then stones. A Gamti boy named Karun picked up a large stone and hurled it across the water. A Vaim girl named Sama stood where the stone fell. The stone hit Sama hard in the head, and she fell hard to the ground. The villagers of Vaim ran to help. The villagers of Gamti cheered and ran away. The Vaims called out for revenge. They were angry and they were afraid. Would the Gamtis never stop fighting us? They gathered around Sama, admiring her courage and plotting their revenge against the Gamtis. As days passed, Sama's pain began to lessen, but her hatred of the Gamtis grew. And the village of Gamti too, the people were angry and they were afraid. Would the Vaims fight us always? They gathered around Karun, praising his courage and scheming how to defend against the Vaims. Karun secretly wondered how brave he had truly been, but his hatred for the Vaims only grew. One day Sama walked along the stream, yearning for something to ease her aching, angry heart. She reached a cool pool and bent to drink. What she saw reflected there stopped her. She saw the ugly scar, but most of all, she saw her own dark, brooding scowl. "Who have I become?" she cried. Sama wept for a long time. Then Sama looked across the stream. There a few children from Gamti walked together. How scared and angry and sad they looked. Sama's heart softened. They are just like us, she thought. Suddenly a few of Sama's own people ran up. "Here you are," they shouted. "The time for revenge has come." And they pulled her away to join the fight. Villagers from the two villages crowded the stream. The Vaims held a captive. It was Karun, and they all held stones. A large stone was put into Sama's hands. It was the stone that Karun had thrown. "Throw the stone at him," the people hissed. "Throw it hard." Sama looked at all the villagers, those from Vaim and those from Gamti. Their faces were like hers, and they had been hardened with anger and fear and hate. Suddenly, Sama knew what she had to do. "No," she said in a loud, clear voice. "I will not hurt him. Let him go." Her people grumbled. Sama went on. "It's time to stop the fighting," she said. "We must stop hurting and hating." And she flung the large stone to the ground. "Let us build a garden instead," she said. Now all of the people grumbled. Someone shouted, "What kind of a garden?" Sama knew. A forgiveness garden. Some people gasped, some scoffed, some just laughed, but some from Vaim murmured, "If Sama wants it." They let Karun go, and then they piled their stones near Sama's. Some from Gamti saw this and murmured, "It's worth a try," and they added stones of their own. Only Karun hung back, scared and angry. Stone by stone, the people of the valley built a garden wall together, but they had questions. "If we forgive, must we forget all that has happened?" asked the villagers of Vaim. Sama answered, "We will sit together in the garden and decide." Must we apologize? Asked the villagers of Gamti. Will the Vyams apologize? Sama answered, the garden will help us find what is right. Still Karun stayed apart, watching and thinking. Villagers set flowers into the soil and planted a tree. When the garden was complete, its loveliness made everyone smile. This garden is for all of us, Sama said. It can help us to put aside hate and learn what forgiveness feels like. Who will join me? At first, no one moved. No one dared. The two villages had hated each other for a very long time. It was hard to try a new way. And then Karun, brave Karun, stepped forward. I will join you, he said to Sama. Sama of Vayan and Karun of Gamti stepped into the garden together, and they sat under the tree and they began to talk. What do you think they said? That's the book, and the story is for people who have been fighting and hating each other to plant gardens together to help them to start talking and to stop fighting and to stop hating. And it's a wonderful movement around the world. So as I'm thinking about this, I'm wondering, who could I stop hating and stop fighting in my garden? And that's a question for you too. Who could you stop fighting and stop hating? Who could we stop hating and stop fighting in a garden? Have a great week, everyone.